I don't care. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm easy breezy like a cover girl.
Like a sloot.
Fuck off.
A thought.
So what are we talking about today, Beverley?
Today is an exciting day because we are going to be talking about how to use quizzes to generate leads and grow your email list. And I'm sure everyone in their time on the internet has taken a quiz, but this is more than just Google, or this is more than just doing like a which Harry Potter person are you quiz. It's more like targeted towards your audience.
Sick. So what is the first step, I guess?
The first step is to figure out a platform that works for you for your quizzes. So I've seen lots of people use, Typepad, whichever one you use. Yeah, some people have used Typeform as a way to generate quizzes, but I say, like, if you're going to do that, why don't you just use a quiz making tool that's like specifically for quizzes? So me, full disclosure, I'm a partner for a company called Interact, tryinteract.com, and they specialize in quiz making. So that's what I would use for a quiz, and I have like a couple quizzes that I've put out before. So finding the right platform for you that's affordable within your price range and has the features that you want is the first step. And then I would say the second step is figuring out who your target audience is, what their struggle is, and then putting a quiz together that way. So working backwards, like, okay, these are the three. So I like those quizzes where it's like you fall into a group of people depending on your answers. There's other ways to do it. You can also do it by not by answers. There's another way to do it. I forget. I'll talk about it after. So working backwards, like your target audience would fall into these three categories, or they don't know which category they'd fall into, but these are the three that you chose. And then working backwards and putting in the questions and the answers that would lead back to those categories. So with Interact, there's over 200 templates for quizzes. So what I did was I just used one of their pre-built quizzes and I just hacked it. And so like making quizzes from the start from scratch is super simple, but I was like, well, why am I going to make a quiz when one already exists for social media? Or like there's also like what type of digital marketer are you? How strong is your brand's personality and that type of thing? And so I just used one that was pre-made and then I just hacked it to what I wanted it to be. And so figuring out your three or four, it doesn't have to be three, the categories that someone would fall into if they took the quiz, and then working backwards and creating the questions from there and the answers from there. That's probably the easiest way to go about it. So like more examples of quizzes for online marketers, and I know Jeff Bulis, has, like the marketing dude, has a quiz on his, and it's like, what type of digital marketer are you? I took that quiz before I even knew like what I was doing, or like that it was like a lead gen thing, because I was like marketer like years ago. And so I took his quiz and then I ended up on his email list. Other examples are, what social network is best for you? Do you have what it takes to start an online business? Find your social media secret sauce, et cetera, and you can ask them about like their brand style and brand voice if you're specialized in branding. And so there's 3 different types of quizzes. Let me just rewind and pretend that I said this earlier when I was like, I don't remember the other types of quizzes. But there's 3 different types of quizzes. There's assessment. So basically it's testing someone's knowledge, but in a really fun way. There's personality quizzes, which are the most popular ones, which is the ones where you fall into specific categories. And then there's a scored quiz, so each answer has a scored value associated with it. And the taker will receive a score that corresponds to a unique score range. So for example, like what is your marketing IQ? And then on a scale of whatever you have in the back end, they'd fall into one of those because of the score that they got from taking your quiz. So there's those 3 types, and I would say personality quizzes are the ones that you would see the most from other people because it's probably the easiest to set up, but also it's the easiest to get people's email addresses. So working backwards, so for me, I'll just use my quiz as an example. I knew I wanted to do something about like what type of, or what's your struggle on social media or something, or like what's your weakness type thing. So I did like, okay, they're gonna fall into content planning, they're going to fall into, they need to maximize engagement, and they need to refine their brand. So then I set up the questions that talked about each one, and then I set up the answers that would correspond with each one, and it's really easy, just plug and play. And then, so someone would go through that, and then to get the results, some people have it set to, you need to put in your email address, but when I was working with Interact, they said that people have more success in getting lead captures if you have, no thanks, I don't want to put in my email address, just take me to the results. And so some people are like, well, how are you going to capture leads that way if you allow them to skip over the email part? The secret is, well, not secret, but the trick is to have like, okay, you're struggling with content. Here's like the blurb about content planning and how it's important and some tips to do it on. And then there's a button there that says, go take my free 5-day course on content marketing. And then that's how you get them as the opt-in. So always having an upsell or like a lead magnet or something related to the results, the 3 results that you have, is probably the smartest way to get those leads, because a lot of people will go through the survey and then they're like, what? I have to give my email address? I'm not doing this anymore. And then they'll just close out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then they become a much more warmer lead at that point. Because
yeah,
it's not just a random person who just did the quiz. There's somebody who did the quiz and then showed interest after that point.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can also segment them on the back end because, well, with Interact, and I know other quiz platforms do it, but they will integrate with your email marketing tool. So then your email marketing tool, you can trigger it. So like if someone falls under content planning and you have their email address, or they signed up through the Interact quiz for your lead magnet, you can segment them on the email marketing end. So then you're only sharing stuff about content planning to that specific list, or you're only sharing stuff about brand refinement to that list. So it's good for segmenting out your audiences and figuring out, okay, these are their pain points, this is what they need help with, so I'm just going to create all this content that goes into these 3 buckets or these 3 categories, and that's what I'm going to feed them, and then hopefully they'll convert later on.
Yeah, makes sense
right?
to me.
Yeah, and so, yeah, and so the trick is like, okay, well, you're doing this quiz, but how do you get them to take it? So I say like installing it on your website, like embedding it on your website is a good way to do it, or having a button on your front page that says, what's your number 1 content struggle, or what can you improve upon on social media? Take the quiz now, and then you click that button, it goes to a page with just the quiz itself. Or you can have the quiz as a pop-up that comes up, and it's kind of just like, you can take the quiz from the pop-up. So instead of having like join my newsletter or download my lead magnet, it's the quiz that pops up. And it's super easy to install, and with Interact, you can also use it to, sorry, I'm like, bleh. You can also use Interact to place Facebook ads with. So what type of Harry Potter character are you? You can do something like that for what type of digital marketer are you, and that can actually be your ad on Facebook, and then they would click the link and then it would go directly to your quiz, and that's a way to get leads for your email list as well. And then on Interact, they have a really cool funnel system in the back end. They show you like, these are how many views your funnel, these are how many views your quiz got, these are the people, how many people who started it, these are the how many people completed it, and these are the how many people actually gave you their email address to turn in to leads, or they wanted to download something from you. So I really like that feature, but again, like the funnel isn't complete if you're doing, if you're allowing people to skip putting in their email address and then going to another landing page to take your 5-day course or whatever it is. So just keep that in mind when you are looking at reporting and quiz analytics. But the Interact people say, like from their experience, that you should have the option to not put in your email address. So having the lead magnet is just like a smarter way to capture their information. And there's been like people who have grown their email list like 300% by using quizzes, and I'm just like, tell me more. Like, tell me how you're doing this. Like, I never went full into doing quizzes. Like, I think I set up 2 or 3, and then I was promoting them for a little bit, and then after I like went on and did something else or started promoting something else. So I think if you can invest your time into promoting them, it would be worth it. And usually it takes like, it can take anyone between 1 to 3 hours to set up your quiz, depending on like what you're going to be asking, and having visuals within your quiz. So for each question, there's a visual. That's really helpful. Keeping answers short and not like, they shouldn't have to think too hard when they take your quiz, because if they have to think too hard, they're going to get frustrated and not follow or go through the entire quiz, and they'll just drop out. So it's really interesting. Like, there's all this psychology behind it, and I would like to do more quizzes, but yeah, I don't know. I have like Interact for free, but I never use it.
So if you're on the promotion side of it, are you strictly just doing it through your social media channels, or are you actually putting some ad spend behind it?
I just do it through my social channels. Well, I did do it through my social channels, but really it's more disguised as a blog post that's called How to Use a Quiz to Get More Leads. And then at the bottom, it's like, you can take my quiz here, and then like find your social media confidence. Social media can suck sometimes. This quiz will help you find your weakest link in your social media marketing and tell you how to fix it. So that's my quiz, and then you would go through the quiz, and then it would let you skip the email address part, and then you can look at, you can download a lead magnet that is relevant to the category you fall in. But yeah, I like that you can use it as an ad on Facebook if you wanted to.
So how would you utilize this for something that's more B2B then?
So, smart. I saw another business using quizzes as get a quote today, or like get a quote. And so basically you run them through like, let's pretend it's for social media management or something like that, and you're just like, okay, how many platforms are you on? And it's like 1, 3 to 5, whatever. They select that. How often are you posting? And then you kind of just ask them questions about what they're doing right now or as their strategy. And then in the back end, you can think about, okay, like if they're doing this amount of activity, they're not finding any results, or they're getting really low engagement rate, this would be a ballpark price that I would tell them for social media management. So you can go get your results now, or get your results, we'll email them to you. So you can set it up in your email marketing tool, like if they fall into the $500 to $1,200 range, then they'll get this specific email. If they fall into this other range, they get this specific email, but then that's a quick way for them to get like a quote without you even having to do anything, because it's already automated and set up for you. And I like that idea too, because then you can, even if they don't sign with you or you don't talk to them again, unfortunately, like I wish, like obviously you should not let that happen, but you're collecting market research on your target audience or these businesses. So it's like good stuff that you can use later on when you're creating content or looking or figuring out how to market yourself.
Yeah.
So like thinking outside of the box is really good with quizzes because it's like they can serve so many things. Like if you are screening for a consult session, you can get them, instead of like filling out forms, you can get them to go through this quiz, but not call it a quiz, just like an application questionnaire or something. And then they'll fall into one of those buckets, and then you can recommend to them, okay, I recommend doing a 2-hour consult versus a 1-hour because of your experience and your answers that you the answers that you gave when you went through the quiz. So there's like lots of uses for quizzes, and you just have to like think outside of which Harry Potter character are you or what type of marketer are you. Totally. Some people even use them as their contact form as well, which I don't necessarily know how I would do that, but it's like a genius idea.
That's something I've been thinking about with Typeform lately, is removing the actual forms off of the page and just having a link that opens up with your Typeform page. Because it opens in line or like within the page, it doesn't take you elsewhere. And then it's just literally just question after question. So you're like your name, your phone number, email, website, how much are you spending or something along those lines. And then that's literally the end of it. Where I think actually having like a form that has all the fields there and then you're just looking at them, I think the psychology behind it, most people don't really want to do it. But when they click on something and then they're like, oh, I put one field in and then I press enter and I'm done, and they just keep on going. I think
the only thing I think with quiz software is I don't know if you can have those open-ended questions for their name. Or wait, you can have that in the lead capture part, but if you want, like, do you have anything else to say? Do you want to add a comment or context to your message? I don't think they have open boxes like that, but definitely for their name and their email address, there's an opportunity to add those for the lead capture part. And then, you would just you can send them an auto, thank you so much for filling in the form, someone will get back to you soon, or based on your answers, we would recommend this service to you. This is how much it will cost. We'll follow up with you in a day or so or something, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then, because I just like the idea of having everything automated because you're going to be doing these things all the time anyway, so why not automate them? And you can use ClickFunnels for that as well. ClickFunnels. I'm obsessed with ClickFunnels.
Yeah, that's because you got a book on it. That's really it.
I got 3 books on it. I'm taking the One Funnel Away course. I did the 10X Secrets course. And I'm doing their other course that I signed up for. I've just been ClickFunnels for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And I fucking, I'm obsessed with it. This girl took 20 to 30 hours figuring out how to talk to her clients based on the outcome of her quiz results. So it is good for market research, and she ended up actually getting 20,000 leads from it. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. 20,000. She ran an ad. She got 320,000 impressions on Facebook, and from that 20,000 leads, about 40% are unengaged, so we take them off the email list if they're not responding or opening emails that we send out weekly. And then she pays about 21 cents per person to Facebook for people who complete the quiz and provide their email address.
Yeah, but then
she's also in your heart chakra needs rebalancing type business.
Yeah, so it's a B2C.
So, yeah, and what she's targeting might just be easier because it's
Yeah, but the targeting for her is going to be super broad. It's just going to be literally everybody at that point. That's
it'll be
impressions.
It'll be tarot card people. I don't know, your friend Tammy, it would be like that, I think.
Alternative health, essentially.
Yeah. Holistic health.
There we go.
Natural health. This other girl, let me just tell you about these things, not that you guys would care, but this girl got 49% of visitors who view her quiz gave their email address. So not only are they visiting her website, but they're also becoming like 49% are also becoming a subscriber, and she uses Pinterest to promote it. And so she got, like, let's say she got 5,000 views on her quiz, and then 2,600 people actually gave their email address. So that's like freaking like mind-blowing. Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
I know. I'm just like, how do I need to like use more quizzes so I can become one of these case studies?
Sure enough.
If you do have questions, you can roll on over to my blog at hellobeverley.com and read how to use a quiz to get more leads, because I actually have screenshots step-by-step how to set it up with Interact.
And also, you can slide into our DMs.
Yes, and use my affiliate link for Interact as well.
Oh my God.
I'm going to turn into one of those affiliate marketers. No.
Yeah, so if nobody has any questions, we're going to sign off. Is anything exciting happening to you, Beverley?
I'm speaking at Next Big Thing on September 28th in Edmonton. It's an event geared towards small business, entrepreneurs, personal brands, etc. And you'll learn a lot of things like how to turn your followers into customers, how to manage your money and accounting and branding and all the things. And I'm also doing a not-for-profit, nonprofit presentation to entrepreneurs on sometime this month on a Saturday. What are you up to?
I'm going to be in Edmonton tomorrow. Yay, I love coming home. We just released the Facebook oh God, what did we call it? 14 tips to improve Facebook performance, or your Facebook ads performance. Sorry, I don't do Facebook now, does it? Beverly.
FB.
And that is through our newsletter. Unfortunately, it's kind of down right now because we had a little bit of a fiasco with the platform that we were using. But hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be up and running. So if you sign up for the newsletter, fret not, you will get the email in the next couple of days. So next week, we're going to be going back to PPC. And I'll be talking about long-term strategies to lowering your CPA, because the last week I did short-term strategies. So we're turning it into a 3-piece series. And then I guess 3 weeks from now, we'll be doing how to use automation to lower your CPA. And that's basically really it, I think. Unless
Neat.
there's something to share, or if somebody else has something to say.
Oh, you can download my content creation blueprint. Go to my website, and it's on the front page. There's a link. And then, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week then.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.